guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you are having a fantastic day. In this video, I want to share another in-depth candle review, and the scent we are discussing is HomeWorx Spring Rain. Now, this Spring Rain is a part of the latest Slatkin & Co. and Elton John collaboration. There were actually a few different sets of fragrances that were released over on QVC. The Spring Rain has actually already sold out, but some of the other scents are still currently available. So I will have what is currently available from the spring launch linked in the description box down below. Also, just keep an eye on the QVC website here. That's where you're gonna find these candles right now. This particular scent could pop back into stock in the as is section. So you might still be able to get your hands on this one. And I think they might actually bring this particular fragrance back, especially knowing that it sold out very, very quickly. Honestly, I'm surprised that there were any sellouts, but I can kind of see why this was the one that did sell out. I did not actually purchase anything this go around from the collab. I did during the holidays when they did their first collaboration. But a lot of the fragrances that were a part of this Woodside Estate spring lineup were, rightly so, focused a little bit more on florals. Florals definitely make sense in the spring. Personally, however, at this point in the year, I have been burning spring candles for a number of months, and I'm kind of past that floral fresh spring vibe. I am ready for all of my fruity, coconutty, sweet gourmands. But I will go ahead and link what is available from this collection in the description box if you happen to be interested in picking anything up. Like I said, there's a little bit more focus on the florals. So if you are a floral person, I think you're probably going to find something here. Now, all of these fragrances were released in sets of 2. One thing you want to know is that these are the 14-ounce 3-wick candles. These are not the 4-wicks. When I think about my favorite format from HomeWorx, it's gonna be their 4-wicks. Or quite frankly, their Luxe candles. I have enjoyed a number of Luxe candles, including the Tangerine Palazzo. If that is currently available, honestly, listen, if that scent profile appeals to you, you should definitely snag that because it's gonna be perfect for the summer. I already blew through mine. I started burning that thing back in January because I was kind of craving some citrus back then. And I just kept burning and burning that fragrance because it is so beautiful, you guys. I actually still have to clean out that the remainder of the just leftover wax so that I can use that as a hurricane this summer. I actually want to use that as a hurricane in our backyard. The vibrant shade of orange is, honestly, it was too pretty to put into the garbage bin. So, all right. So if this does pop back into stock, I imagine it'll probably be from the as is section. So keep an eye out there. And they may bring this fragrance back next year. It was obviously quite popular. So fingers crossed it does come back. When I first stuck my nose into this, I didn't love it. In fact, I messaged Brett and I was like, did you get the Spring Rain? Like, this is probably totally up your alley. And he was like, no, I didn't. I really want it. And then I don't even think that Brett was able to get his hands on this one. I think it sold out before he even placed his order. So anyway, sorry about that, Brett. This is totally up his alley here. Okay, so Spring Rain, the fragrance notes here, let's go ahead and read through those. I'll tell you what I smell. We'll discuss the strength and throw of this one, and then of course talk about any burn issues that I may have noticed. As you can see, I am actually I'm almost done with this candle. I've been burning it quite a bit. It is a lovely scent, so let's dig in. The notes read, a blend of fresh fallen rain, vibrant honeysuckle, jasmine petals, and dewy stems. So it kind of, just based off of the fragrance notes here, it kind of seems like this is definitely a floral. We've obviously got the honeysuckle and the jasmine, but it also seems like it's going to come across as a little fresh, maybe slightly aquatic. And that is exactly what you get here. You guys, this is a lovely scent. I appreciate this so much more when it's burning than on cold sniff, because when I first stuck my nose into this, it was almost all honeysuckle. And while I can appreciate honeysuckle, it is a very distinct, very potent type of sweet floral note. And honestly, it smells, well, it can smell somewhat cloying to my nose, especially after a couple of hours of being exposed to it. But here's kind of the wonderful thing about this fragrance is that honeysuckle is totally balanced out by that jasmine, which on cold sniff is barely perceptible, but it really makes an appearance once you actually light this candle up. It's almost, I would say, 50% honeysuckle, 50% jasmine. So that jasmine really starts to kick in once you actually get a flame to the wax here. There is a beautiful kind of green element to this as well. Dewy stems, I don't know if I would really consider it dewy stems. It is a really slight leafy green type of note that I really smell here. And it is a really lovely, soft, fresh type of floral. I think that rain note, if you will, kind of serves to just mellow out the florals a little bit that are present in this fragrance. But you guys, this is very nice. Would I have ended up placing an order? Probably not. I'd like to enjoy this one again next spring. But like I said, at this point in the year, I'm kind of over the florals and I really would love to move on to more fruity fragrances. That's kind of just where my mind is heading. I also have another floral fragrance that I just started burning that I did not review earlier when I purchased it originally. And I gotta say, every time that I smell a floral now, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm definitely ready for the summer fragrances. But I do hope that this one comes back. So if you're into these sweet florals with a little hint of green to them, keep this one in the back of your mind should it return next spring. Sorry about the dogs. They are in the background and Penny is just licking Alf's face right now. So if you can hear that gross noise, I'm really sorry. I'll see if I can get her to stop here. All right, let's discuss the strength and the throw. All right. This has not been a powerhouse. I'm not going to say that, but it has had a very solid, I would rate it at probably not quite a 7, somewhere between a 6 and a 7 in terms of strength and throw. It's noticeable. Listen, when I walk into the room, especially the dining room where I have kept this one for the most part, honestly, it matches the paint color in here so perfectly that it just made sense to keep it in this room. But yeah, in here in this dining room, it has been a very solid medium performer. I wouldn't say medium light, but it's also not medium high either. I think if this was one of their 4-wick formats, I think it would have a little bit more oomph to it. But that being said, I think for being what this is, it has adequate strength and throw for my personal tastes. But if you are looking for powerhouse florals, this was not a powerhouse. Somewhere between a 6 and a 7 is a solid medium for me, but it is not considered a super strong scent, right? But it was lovely. It was lovely, and I could definitely smell it when it was in the room. It does kind of want to travel out of here. This particular space, by the way, if you've never seen it, it is a little bit more enclosed. So this is one of the entry points into this room, and then there's another one over there. But if you kind of know the layout of the rest of my house, like this is the most enclosed area in the downstairs. So not a lot escapes from here. So the fact that I can smell it at all kind of over where my office is off to the side here, it's got enough oomph to it, right? Like it's got just enough to leave this area and scent some of the other areas of the house, but it definitely doesn't compete. It's not strong enough to compete. So that being said, were there any burn issues? Really the only thing that I noticed was probably my bad to begin with. I let this one get away from me a few days ago, and I left it burning for like 6 hours. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that my rule with most candle companies, especially HomeWorx, is to burn the candles for the recommended burn time. Usually the recommended burn time is somewhere between 3 and 4 hours. So me leaving this lit for 6 hours was way too long. When I did that, the wicks did start to keel over because there were some mushroom tops that formed, and one of the wicks like fell over into the wax. So I had to rescue that one. So I extinguished the candle, I let the wax kind of start to harden a little bit, and then I lifted that wick that keeled over straight up again. I trimmed off the massive mushroom top that had formed on it, and again, trimmed the wick quite short before the next burn. I was able to get that wick to cooperate again. So let me give you guys the overhead shot because that really was my only issue. You can see here that despite that 6 hour burn, I don't have any sooting or discoloration. When I walked in here and realized this thing was still going, I was like, oh my gosh, I bet it is black. It's not. Like, it still looks fantastic. Obviously, it hasn't really pulled out yet. I did just light this prior to starting this video, so it has a little ways to go here, but let me just keep turning this so that you can see that, yeah, I mean, that's pretty clean burn, so that's not bad, but you can definitely see that these wicks they're a little wonky now. So I do feel like after I extinguish this, I need to straighten the wicks up again. So I don't know if that is because I let it go so long that one day. This one seems to be standing up a little bit more straight. This was actually the wick over here on this end that ended up falling into the wax. And you can see it's still a little sideways, as is that one, but it seems to be doing okay. At this stage in the game here, it doesn't seem to be forming the heavy mushroom tops anymore, but I do still need to make sure that these wicks are straightened up and that I trim them prior to the next burn. I don't have a lot of wax left in here. I imagine that I'm gonna let this go for 3 hours here today. I'm gonna let it go for about 3 hours tomorrow, and I think that's gonna put me pretty close to the end of this particular candle here. So it kind of went fast, but it was an enjoyable experience. So for what it's worth, those are my thoughts on this already sold out fragrance. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you ordered this one. I'd love to know your thoughts if it has arrived at your house already. I appreciate you guys being here. If you're interested in more of my home fragrance related content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.